Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Or if you happen to be a first-time visitor here, please don't forget to click that big red subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. So today I'm talking to you about some new images that have come out which showcase some of the planets and the style and the look of Star Trek Prodigy. We've recently had some photos and some casting information that's come out about the characters and the cast in Prodigy. If you haven't seen my video on that, please click on a link up here and that will take you to that video to have a look at. But we've had a bit of Star Trek news lately. We've had the Star Trek Picard Season 2 trailer, which came out recently. That's good. We've got, as I said, the news on Prodigy, and we've got some more images today. We've had the Discovery trailer. We should be getting a trailer pretty soon, I would imagine, for Prodigy. We've had a lot of visual imagery come out in the last couple of weeks about this new show. If I had to guess, I would say Prodigy's probably going to sit after Lower Decks, but maybe before Discovery later this year. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But let's have a look at these fantastic looking images from Star Trek Prodigy. Now, in the first of our gorgeous new images, we've got a shot of what looks like, if we look in closely here, the character of Dal and the character of Gwyn. And they're sitting on a piece of wrecked ship. Looks like they're basically in almost like a ship graveyard. It sort of seems like this planet, there's a lot of busted ships. This is obviously a rusted old hulk of a starship. They happen to be just sitting on the back of the engine or something. In the background here, we've got a bunch of other wreckage and a gorgeous nebula and moon orbiting this planet they're on. So it's a really beautiful looking shot. And I think some of the images we saw last week when I did the video on the new characters, we got a couple of glimpses at some of these characters, and the animation style for this show really does look gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to the style. I think it's really impressive, and it has a really great potential to be a beautiful looking show. I just really hope that the tone and flavour of the show is in keeping with what we would expect from Star Trek, and is something that kids and adults alike can both enjoy. So I'm guessing that this is probably the planet that these characters are going to be starting on. We know that they find a derelict Federation starship, which becomes their means of transport to explore the galaxy. So this particular kind of ship graveyard that we see Dal and Gwyn sitting on here in this shot is, I'm guessing, wherever they happen to be, where they find their Federation starship that they end up on. In our next shot, we have a really gorgeous planetary view of two planets. There's a couple of moons here orbiting this planet. We've got what looks like some kind of starship coming into the orbit of this planet. So we can see in the bottom left-hand corner of frame there, we've got a series of vapor trails as the ship is kind of, I guess, heading through the atmosphere into this planet. We've got these very large, what look like giant either rock structures or giant sort of tree root-like structures here that are so tall that they're penetrating the upper atmosphere of this planet. So based on the previous shot, where we can see one of these large sort of rock formations in this shot where Dal and Gwyn are sitting on the back end of the starship here, it would seem like this is an external view of this planet because we can see these big rock structures penetrating the upper atmosphere there. So there's obviously a couple of moons in orbit of this planet that they're on. It's a stylistic. I mean, these could be amazing science fiction desktop backgrounds. They're really gorgeous shots. I'm really loving the style for Prodigy. I think it's gonna be a gorgeous looking show. In our next shot, we have a very different looking planet here. I'm trying to work out whether this is ripples in the water down the bottom here, or whether these are like sand dunes, the way wind would form ripples on sand dunes. We've got a very interesting rock structure on the right-hand side of frame here with a lot of sort of crevices and cutouts there from some form of erosion or whatever on those rocks. And then we've got all these ripples, which I think is ripples, I'm going to guess it's ripples in sand as opposed to yellow water. I think that probably would make more sense because on sand dunes and so forth, you do get that ripple effect where the wind kind of carves out those waves in the sand. And we've got obviously the sun there in the left-hand side of frame. Again, really interesting planet. Obviously, these are planets in the Delta Quadrant that we haven't seen before. There's no obvious planets here that would seem to cry out Alpha Quadrant to me. They're really, really original and new-looking planets. And the style, as I said before, it looks great. This is going to be a very pretty-looking show. In our next shot here, we have a very alien-looking city. Spires and towers off the centre part of the city. Energy beams of some kind spreading out from that central point where the city is. There are circles of green which seem like they're sort of parkland or garden habitats or whatever coming off this planet. Again, it sort of reminds me a little bit of sort of a Coruscant kind of vibe from Star Wars, but even, you know, more different again, because Coruscant was very urban. This has obviously got the main central city, but we have got areas of grassland and parkland and so forth in these little habitat areas spreading out from this central city here. Again, all of these shots are, I've got to say, are just really quite stunning in their design. And I love the lighting too. The lighting is really atmospheric in a lot of these shots. They're sort of around a sort of a sunset, late afternoon or early evening kind of vibe. And there's a real kind of mood of quite a glossy, very stylized look for this show. And I've got to say, I'm loving it. My only hope is that the tone and flavour for Prodigy isn't too kiddie-ish. Obviously, it's been kind of touted as a kid's way into Star Trek, but I think if it maintains that tone that both kind of adults and kids can enjoy, I think that's one of the beauties of the Star Wars Clone Wars or Rebels or Bad Batch animated series that I quite enjoy as well. Those shows, you know, kids can watch them, but adults can watch them as well. They're not so kiddie-ish that it locks out an adult audience. And I'm hoping that Prodigy is going to go along these lines as well, that it's, you know, it's open for all ages and not just a really kiddie-ish show. Hopefully that style of the show is very much in keeping with a flavour that everybody can enjoy. So what do you guys think about these new photos from Star Trek Prodigy? Do they make you more excited to see this show, or is it kind of like, nah, I don't like animation, the show's going to be too kiddie orientated and I'm not interested in it? Or are you kind of coming around to this notion of an animated Star Trek series that we're going to be getting soon later this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. And as always, please don't forget to like, to comment, to share this video, and also check out my merchandise page where you can get some great deals. I think might be a sale going on in the store at the moment, so be sure to check that out, where you can pick up some great sci-fi themed t-shirts, much like this one I'm wearing now. And I'll be along very soon in the next week or so with another review, and I'll catch you guys then.